In this video, we are going to start with question 2, and we will begin with question 2.1. So the graph given below shows South Africa's CPI inflation rate for the period April 2022 to February 2023. Okay, so it's for April 2022 to February 2023. Okay, so this is the period. So we can see that on our y-axis we have percentages, and then on our x-axis we have months. Okay, so we are told to use the information above to answer the following questions. So we'll start with question 2.1.1. So question 2.1.1 says that in December 2022, the price of a loaf of bread was 12 rand 47 cent. And then calculate the price of a loaf of bread in February 2023. So we are given the price for December 2022, and then we need to find the price for February 2023, and then we are given the percentage increases. Meaning that from December to January the price increased by 6.9%. Okay, and then from January to February the price increased by 7%. So meaning that we need to have January 2023. So we can't get to February before passing through January. So we need to find out how much the price were in January. So from December to January it increased by 6.9%. So we are told that the loaf of bread is 12 rand 47 cent. Then we will come and multiply by the percentage increase. So it increased by 6.9%. So we can just come and say 6.9%, or we can say 6.9 divided by 100. If you use this method, you will get an answer, and then if you use this method you will still get an answer. So both these methods works the same, so the answer that you will get will be the same. Okay, now let's see how much we will get. So let's come and say 12.47 multiplied by 6.9 divided by 100. Our answer is 0.86043. So this is not our final answer. That's why we have to write everything in full. So now we can come and say the price of bread in January will be equals to 12.47 plus 0.86043. Okay, so it's 12.47 plus 0.86043, and the answer will be 13.33. So now we can round off to 2 decimal places because this will be our final answer for Jan. Okay, and then we do the same thing to get the price of bread in February. So what do? So we take the price of bread in January and then check for the percentage increase of 7%. So we'll come and say 13.33 multiplied by 7.0%, or 7.0 over 100. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check how much that will be. So it's 13.33 multiplied by 7.0%, and we will get 0.9 331. So even if we use the other method, even if we divide by 100, we still get the same thing, right? Okay, and then now to get the price for February, we just add the two. So we add 13.33 plus 0.9331, and then the price of bread in February, it will be 13.33 plus 0.9331, and our answer will be 14.26, and then we round off to two decimal places. Okay, and that's our answer for question 1. And now we'll be moving to the next question, which is question 2.1.2. okay, so let's just create a bit of space. And remember guys that we do have extra classes, and if you wish to join, you can just WhatsApp the number you are seeing on the screen, and then we will be able to add you on the group. And our extra classes are very affordable. They are only 80 rands per month. Okay, so now let's move to the next question, which is question 2.1.2. So question 2.1.2 says that did the price of goods increase or decrease from July 2022 to September 2022? So from July 2022 to September 2022. So they're asking if the price of goods increased or decreased, and then we need to explain our answer. Okay, so we can see that in July the percentage was 7.8, and then in August the percentage was 7.6%, and then in September the percentage was 7.5%. So we can see that 7.8, 7.6, 7.5. So we can say that the price increased, but at a lower rate or a lower percentage. So from July to August it increased by 7.6, and then from August to September it increased by 7.5. So it is increasing, but it is increasing at a lower percentage. So we can say it is increasing at a lower percentage. Okay, so that will be our final answer. So now let's move to the next set of questions. So now let's move to question 2.2. So maybe before we move to question 2.2, we can just create a bit of space so that we don't have to erase so many times. So now let's move to question 2.2. So the invoice given below is for the installation of a water tank. Okay, so this is the water tank invoice given. So we are told that water tanks for you, so I am assuming water tanks for you is the company that installed the water tank, right? And there is the address, there is the invoice number, the invoice date, and then we have 3 columns: the description column, the unit price column, and the amount column, right? So now let's go ahead and start working on our set of questions. So the first question is saying that the first question will be question 2.2.1. So question 2.2.1 is saying that give the day and month this invoice must be paid. So we can see that this invoice was received on the 22nd of April, right? And then we are told that all payments are due within the next 15 days. So payments are due within the next 15 days. So we know that from April to, so we know that April ends on the 30th. So now we need to calculate the 15 days. So we know that April ends on the 30th of April, right? So we will count from the 23rd. So it will be the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 28th, 29th, 30th, meaning that in April we'll only count 8 days. And then 15 minus 8, 15 minus 8, we are left with 7, meaning that this will be due on the 7th of May. So our final answer will be 7 May, the day and the month. Okay, so now let's move to our next question, which is question 2.2.2. So question 2.2.2 says that let's see, question 2.2.2 says that determine the total cost rounded to the nearest thousand of the filters. So we need to determine the total cost of the filters. So this is 2.2.2. So three filters were bought and one was costing 349. So meaning that if 3 were bought, we just come and say 349 multiplied by 3 because 3 was bought. And then the total cost of filters will be 349 multiplied by 3, which is 1047. Okay, so in this case we are told that let's round off our answer to the nearest 1000. Let's round it off to the nearest 1000, meaning that it either needs to be 1000 or 2000 in this case. So we come and check this value here. So this is determined by this value that is here. So if this value that is here, if this value is greater than or equals to 5, it means that our 1 will now become 2. But if this value is less than 5, it means that our 1 will remain the same. So it will remain as 1. So we can see that this value that is here, it is less than 5, meaning that our 1 will remain the same. So rounding off to the nearest 1000 will be 1000. It won't be 2000. So this will be our final answer. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So now let's move to our next question, which is question 2.2.3. 2.2.3. So question 2.2.3 says that calculate the cost per hour for labor. So we are given the amount of labor for 7.5 hours. So we are given the amount of labor for 7.5 hours. So to find the cost of labor per hour, the cost per hour for labor, we just come and say 6,500 divided by 7.5. So this will be the cost per hour for labor. The cost per hour for labor. So 6,500 divided by 7.5. And our answer will be 866.67. So we rounded it off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so now let's move to our next question, which is question 2.2.4. 2.2.4. So question 2.2.4 says that calculate the total amount due, including VAT, for the invoice above. The total amount due for the invoice above, including VAT. I think we will need a bit of space to work this out, right? So let's just create a bit of space. And if you want to make notes, you can just pause the video. You can just pause the video and then resume after making notes. Okay, so now let's move to question 2.2.4. So we are told that calculate the amount due, including VAT, for the above invoice. So we know that our A, we calculated it, which is the filters. I think it was 1047. So we write it as it is. We write it as 1047, not as 1000, right? Yeah, so now let's calculate our total cost. So let's start with the subtotal. Subtotal. So the subtotal will be 5499 plus 1047 plus 1699 plus 6500. Okay, so our subtotal will be, it's 5499 plus 1047 plus 1699 plus 6500. So our subtotal will be 14,745. So now we are told that VAT is calculated at 15%. So to calculate VAT, we can use our subtotal. So we just take our subtotal as it is. Right? So we take our subtotal, so it will be 14,745 multiplied by 15 divided by 100. So this will be our VAT amount. So our VAT will be 14,745 multiplied by 15 divided by 100, which will then be 2211.75. So this is VAT. So now what we need to come and do, we can just come and say our VAT is equals to 2211.75, and then our invoice total, so our invoice total will just add our subtotal and our VAT. Okay, so it's 14,745 plus 2211.75. So we just come and add our subtotal to our VAT. So we'll just add 14,745, and our final answer will be 16,956.75. That's our final answer. I hope that makes sense. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that when we upload our next videos, you are the first to be notified. Okay, so now let's move to our let's move to our next question, which is question 2.2.5. 2.2.5. So question 2.2.5 says that the price of the water tank is due to increase in the next month. The new price is expected to be 5,795, and Mr. Rock says that this increase is more than 5%. So Mr. Rock says that this increase is more than 5%. So verify showing all calculations whether this statement is valid or not. And then we are told that we may use the following formula, the percentage change. So always remember that if we are calculating the percentage change, we need to multiply by 100 so that the answer that we get is in the percentage form. So we just multiply by 100, right? So the formula says that difference in cost divided by the original cost. So this formula looks a bit confusing. So if we are calculating the percentage change, we can always use the formula which says new minus old divided by old. So this is our old price before it increased, which was 5499. So that's the water tank price. So it's 5499. And then remember this is our old, meaning that we still need to divide by it, 5499. And then our new price is 5,795 multiplied by 100. Okay, so our percentage change will be, so it's 5795 minus 5499 divided by 5499 multiplied by 100. So we can see that the percentage change will be 5.38%. And remember, we are told that Mr. Rock says that this increase is more than 5%. So we can see that this is more than 5%, meaning that her statement is valid, is right. Okay, so now let's move to our next question, which is question 2.3. So we will need a bit of space. Okay, so now we're moving to question 2.3, which I believe it has to do with tariffs. So given in the table below are the electricity tariffs for domestic households. Okay, so we are told to use the above information to answer the questions that follow. So we are told that Mr. Rock and his family used a total of 712 kilowatts of electricity, and then calculate the amount in rands that you will pay for their electricity usage this month. So we are given block 1 and block 2. We are given block 1 and block 2. So we can see that, so the total, so we can just state the total tariff. So the total will be 712 kilowatts. So this will be the total. Okay, so now we need to calculate the cost in rands. So if we check our rate is given in cents. We can see that it is 229 cents. Okay, so first let's calculate the block 1 tariffs, which is 600. So 600 kilowatts costs 229.00 cents. And then remember, in total they used 712. Okay, so for more than 600 it costs 278.46. so now we need to calculate what's outstanding, because we have already considered, or we have already accounted for 600, meaning that we only need to add the remaining ones. And how do we do that? We just need to come and say 712 minus 600, which is 112. So we'll only account for 112 kilowatts multiplied by 278.46 cents. And then in total, this should give us 7/12, meaning that we have calculated for the entire 7/12. So now we can just multiply and see what our answers will be. So we'll come and say 600 multiplied by 229.00, and our answer will be 137.40 cents. Remember, it is in cents, right? And then now we will just come and say 112 multiplied by 278.46, and our answer will be 31187.52. This is in cents. So now we can just add the two. So it will be 137,400. So in total it will be 168,587.52 cents. So we are told to write our answer in rands, and then if we want to convert this in rands, we just divide by 100. So we just divide by 100. So we'll come and say 168,587.52 divided by 100, and our answer will be in rands. So divide by 100, and our answer is 1,685.88, and that's our final answer. And that brings us to the end of question 2.